Kaldheim, whatever you want to pronounce it like. The spoilers have started. Wizards did this thing where they did like a week of metal, where we got more previews. I kind of liked it because it gave me a space to think and talk about Kaldheim without them being behind the... I'm already behind the curve. The stuff came out late last week and here I am. It's Monday. Fuck me. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Let's talk about Kaldheim's spoilers and previews and art and trailers and shit. Firstly, let's get the boring ones out of the way. The pathways. We knew they were going to be in the set. We knew there's the final 4 to complete the entire cycle. The cards themselves are reasonable. I like the designs, but these have been talked about in great length and to death. The best thing about these that I want to focus on, though, for the moment, is their art. These are beautiful. The Hengate pathway in particular, for me, takes the biscuit. And by biscuit, I mean sweet, tasty biscuit, not your fucking savoury biscuits, you American shits. It takes the biscuit for mystery and a sense of scale. I love it. Right, key art and details. Firstly, we got key art for 2 new planeswalkers, Tyvar and Nico Aris. Tyvar is the next tribal elf walker, their words not mine, which evokes previous ideas like original Zendikar Nissa, one of the worst planeswalkers of its time and perhaps all time, and Freyalise, who I guess is only tribal because she literally shits out elves like some sort of elf factory. We haven't seen a card yet, but I'm digging the golden armour of this dude and hope the elves of this world look a bit like that. It reminds me of like the high elf armour in Lord of the Rings. He's jacked as fuck, even for the usually lean but muscular elves. This means it's unrealistic male beauty standards. Am I right, lads? Then we've got the key art for Nico Aris, MTG's first non-binary planeswalker, but not the first non-binary character. We've had Halar and Yaheni before, but it's a big step up in representation to have one of the core cast of characters be non-binary. This gives us a chance to see the character on multiple worlds and in multiple stories and see them develop over time. For people who have accused Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering in the past of having tokenistic depictions of these things to just like meet a diversity quota, it's a big step away from that possible criticism to have them as part of the main cast. So that's quite exciting. There's some great interview pieces for both Tyvar and Nico over on the Mothership if you want to read some of the discussion going on behind the scenes and how they approach the creation of these characters. Tyvar is likely to be green-black, as those are the 2 colours, as always, of the elves on Kaldheim, and meanwhile Nico is probably blue, or potentially blue-white. We'll have to wait and see, because they didn't really give it away in the interview. We also had another beautiful trailer. Similarly to Theros and Zendikar, we didn't get a piece of pop culture music covered in news like we did with Throne, Ikoria and War. As someone who enjoyed all of these trailers quite a bit, I like the variety, honestly. If it was a pop culture mashup every time, it would be kind of cliche and get a bit tiring. The narrator of the trailer is fan favourite Devil Prince himself, Tybalt. In the trailer, he makes reference to how all races belong to the World Tree. Now, the World Tree is probably going to end up being a mythic green bomb that is absolutely absurd in Commander, because that always happens. But the fact that he says Vikings, Valkyries, Elves, and Dwarves, this line and the examples of tribal matters we've already heard of, and a tribal elf walker, makes me think that Kaldheim is going to be far more tribal matters than I first thought. We already knew we had the elf planeswalker coming, but we now have a tribal dragon and dwarf character in Magda Brazen Outlaw. I actually fucking love this card. The showcase frame is incredible, and I'm all for dwarf support in MTG. I've always been a fan of playing dwarven paladins and wizards and warriors in D&D, and Gimli is a lot cooler than Legolas. I think the design here is fucking sick too. It rewards you for beating face and playing dwarves, but then it also cheats out and tutors for dragons as well, giving you like access to 2 sort of tech trees, if you will. Add all of that on top of the fact that she's a 2-mana commander, and I think this card is going to be fucking sick for building around. Then we have Pyre of Heroes, a tribal birthing pod. I am not exaggerating. This isn't when I say it's basically Splinter Twin. This is a tribal birthing pod. It has a 2-mana activation to tap and sack a creature, and then you get to search for a creature of the same type or one of the same types equal to the previous creature's CMC +1. It's literally tribal birthing pod. Birthing Pod was insane in its time in Standard and then into older formats like Modern as well, because, well, it was designed to be a value engine, but what it did was 2 things. Firstly, it gave you access to silver bullets to help disrupt your opponent's plans, so you can play things like Sin Collectors and Oars of Pontiffs in your main deck, but 2, and more importantly, it often just allowed you to combo chain into a win on the spot. Most of the chains would involve you having to have 2 creatures in play. If you had like a 1-drop, for example, or a 2-drop, you go 2-drop into Deceiver Exarch, 1 drop into Phantasmal Image, copy Exarch, both of these untapping the pod each time. Then you pod the Deceiver Exarch, that's a Phantasmal Image, into a Restoration Angel, flicker your Exarch, untap your pod 1 more time, pod the Resto into Kiki, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. It's basically Splinter Twin, but it actually is Splinter Twin. It's Kiki Exarch, it's the proto-twin. Your opponent's dead to infinite fucking Exarchs. In short, every chain basically ended with some sort of combo, usually Exarch and Kiki Jiki. The tribal clause is enough to force you to have to jump through too many hoops in eternal formats for this to work in a efficient or overbearing way, or you only play this pod as it's probably intended, a value engine and shooter. I can see this potentially being good in historic goblins or modern elves or some human or slivers list somewhere. I'm quite excited to film some gameplay with this. Of course, it can often be a do nothing for a turn, but allowing you to consistently hit your heavy hitters like, I don't know, Shaman of the fucking Pack, for example. It's great, but the question is it as good as what's available at the moment, like Collected Company and Chord of Calling? We then get to see that Changeling is back with Realm Walker, which has a choose a creature type, enter the battlefield value engine similar to Vizier of the Menagerie, where you can play, easy for me to say, right, I really stumbled over that, where you can play creatures off the top of your library. In short, Kaldheim is the Lauren sequel we all wanted, but with more faux metal and battle axes. Back to the trailer then. We see a powerful sword being forged alongside the World Tree, a weapon with the ability to protect all, says Tybalt. What that translates to in card mechanics is a sword that gives +2 power and vigilance. And I guess it allows the holder not to die. They go back to hand when they die. Eternal life, perhaps? It's actually the backside of Halvar, God of Battles. A 4-mana lad giving double strike and re-equipping auras and equipments for free is unique, and I dig it. I like it when we see commanders that do things that other ones haven't done. However, the first time I saw this, I didn't realise that Halvar was the front half, and I got very excited because I thought, well, I guess by excited I mean I got fucking horny for it. I thought I could search up the sword in Legacy D&T and then have access to a 4-mana creature mode off that shooter, but alas, that was not the case, and probably for good reason. Then we have some more very metal, very Viking imagery of a giant world-eating wolf in Sarulf. This recurring exiling pernicious deed on a body is quite frankly fucking disgusting. Disgusting! I can see this as being one of the least fun commanders to play against of all time. It's a sick idea for design in competitive formats, and I like it, and I want to play it as a one-of in Maverick or Nick Fit in Legacy, but fuck having all my mana rocks and dorks and utility regularly wiped from the board by Sarulf. Put a counter on Sarulf, untap and exile their Delver? Cool. Exiling the entire board's Soul Rings and Mind Stones? I mean, sure, but you're gonna make some fucking enemies. Next up, we have the return of Sagas. The most exciting part about this is that we see a white-red enchantment generate more card advantage than it could have done if it was mono-white. I wish this was a snide remark and a joke, but it's just fucking true. White's card draw abilities across Magic continue to be completely dogshit because the colour is defined by what it can't do more than what it can. And then lastly we have Kaya, the Inexorable, a sick card but a confusing one. The key promo art from the set shows Kaya with these fucking badass spectral vorpal axe things, but she only has shivs here. I really want the axes to make an appearance, so maybe the collector booster art, I don't know, or is there another version of Kaya in the commander deck or the dual deck or whatever supplemental shit's come alongside this. I can't keep up with that shit. Either way, I really want a Kaya with these fucking axes. She's 5 mana, but she allows you to reset creatures to hand with ghost form counters upon death or exile, and she exiles a non-land with a straight up modern friendly Vindicate downtick, and her emblem allows you to immediately replay her for free if she dies to the downtick of 7 out of your graveyard or exile, and then just downtick to kill something else and cast other legends too for free. So okay, we shouldn't judge walkers based upon their ultimates, but this thing is fucking cool. I think she is thematically freeing heroes, legendary creatures from the underworld or something that's been taken to the underworld, which fits with her previous ghost killing, ghost fuckery powers, and with the themes of the set too. She is sick. I really like this walker, and I think it's starting to make Kaya one of my favourite walkers all around. Her 3 mana version from the Ravnica block was deceptively powerful. Her uncommon one, I don't even fucking remember what it does, and I love the original for its flickerness. So, yeah. I think this is a great new version of Kaya. It's also cool that she's not pushed as shit as well. Like, at 5 mana, she'll probably see some standard play at some point somewhere, and she'll be a card that people want to play in Commander as well, but she's not going to dominate and rip apart all the formats, which is nice, considering the fucking track record we've had of Mythics in the last couple of years. And then finally in the trailer, Tibalt talks about wanting to sow some chaos, so I'm going to assume we're going to get a Tibalt card as well. That is Kaya, the 2 new ones in Tibalt's 4 walkers, that makes sense. I'm excited for a new Tibalt because although there was a War of the Spark one, he is still a kind of a meme, right? And we haven't seen a renewal in Mythic form. Now, I just talked about how Kaya is cool because she isn't breaking the bank, and I don't want Mythics to fucking ruin the game. But it's just exciting to see what Tibalt will be like in a new Mythic version. Part of me really wants, the fact that he's talking about sowing chaos, part of me really wants him to just be a warp world on a planeswalker. But that's also not great. Kind of like the wolf, that won't be very fun for the people involved. But I kind of want to see it. Like a dog chasing cars or some other reference to the... fuck off. So what do you think so far of Kaldheim? We've had 1 week of metal previews, and then we've got more previews coming in January. What have you enjoyed so far? What are you excited for? What are your predictions? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. On January the 14th, I've got my very own Kaldheim preview coming. I say this. If it is a common or uncommon, I'm just going to politely give it back to them because it's kind of a waste of time. But hopefully it's something more exciting. We will see. Let me know what you think of Kaldheim so far, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta for now.